Welcome, everyone. We're about 3 minutes away from our launch. We usually wait about a minute or so as people join. See people come up. So FISA was great. You had a good time at FISA, Pablo, with Isabel. You met a lot of people.
Yes, and they did a great job. Sal and his team organizing everything. So we had really good meetings. People was really friendly and open to listen and to know a little bit more, in our case, about our company and our product. But in general, also the other suppliers and the operators was a great, easy to get in contact and easy to create good relationships. So happy.
Great. That's great. I'll let you know when people start logging in. It'll probably be in the next minute or two.
Perfect.
Here we go. Speak of the devil. As people are logging in, welcome. We'll launch in about 3 minutes. We were just talking about the FISA event, Pablo and I, and Sal Pellegrino. What a great job FISA does. I think Sal's actually just joined us. Hi, Sal. Welcome. Thanks for attending. And folks are coming on now, logging in. Thank you all for attending. And of course, Pablo and I are also talking about, before we get into the webinar, the upcoming HFA event next month in San Diego. Hopefully we will have nice weather there.
For sure. Last week, the weather was not so great, but the event, the FISA West event, was perfect, was great.
Yes.
So congratulations to Sal, if he's listening.
Yes.
Congratulations to you and your team for the event.
Yes. Thank you very much for joining, everybody. We're logging in. We're going to take a few minutes as people log in. Join us. Welcome. People from all over the world joining us. We appreciate you joining us as we talk about proven tools with AI with Pablo from Fitness KPI. This is the third in the series. Welcome, Tony. Thanks for attending. Welcome, Dan. Good to see you all. Good to see everybody. People are logging in now. We really look forward to the conversation and really appreciate you all attending. Of course, we'll be sharing the content here afterwards for you to reference, and this will also be broadcast on our podcast, and you'll see some clips distributed afterwards with some key insights from Pablo and his experience. Welcome. People are continuing to log in from around the world. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you all. We always like people to take a moment to log in. People are logging in now, so we'll start in a minute or two, let everyone get their coffee cups ready as we look forward to a great conversation. Thank you all so much for being here. Chris, thanks for being here. Isabel, thanks for being here. Suzanne, Dan, Robert, many folks joining. Welcome, everybody. Pablo and I are looking forward to a great conversation. We appreciate you participating. We were talking about the upcoming HFA event in San Diego in a few weeks, so we'll see you there. I hope everyone will be there. I was telling Pablo, you notice today I don't have my Apple product in my ears. I'm wearing a more sophisticated microphone so that you can actually see my ears. I'm not wearing those white things, so hopefully that'll be a little more appealing. Good to see everybody. Let's take another 30 seconds or so, and then we'll jump into the conversation. Pablo, you're joining us from Miami.
Yes.
How is it there?
Good, really good. Weather is nice and probably be a lot better than in New York. So
yeah, they have a lot of snow they're digging out of, right?
Yes, yes.
Well, great. Well, thanks everyone for joining. People are still logging in, but we're going to go ahead and get started. Of course, Pablo with Fitness KPI, and we're going to talk about the kind of real world of adopting tools in AI today. And what's interesting as a commentary before we get in the subject is, we're coming from a place of operations, which is more the practical aspects of the technology. Today, you hear a lot of noise and a lot of conversation. I think there's some confusion as far as how do you make these things work and make this technology work. And so I think given Pablo's background as an operator and an advisor in operations and sales and everything about clubs, we're taking the technology bent, but we're kind of talking about it in a real world way. I think that's fair to say. Pablo, before we get started, what would you like to contribute?
Well, related to what we are going to talk today.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I think it's important to clarify some concepts and because we talk a lot about AI and I was in FISA last week and everybody was when Sal asked people, okay, what is your interest? Many of them said AI. But I think there is something more important than AI, that is automations. You want to use technology to automatize things and to get better results. And AI is only a small part of that process and probably is the less proven part so far.
Right.
So we have other ways to automatize. So maybe we should explain that a little bit at the beginning.
Yeah, I agree. And so let's jump into that. So the first thing let's talk about is kind of the role, right? So we have workflows, chatbots, and AI agents, right? Those are three distinct things. Let's start with workflows and then go through chatbots and AI agents. Let's talk about what those really are.
Yeah, yeah. When you want to automatize a process using technology, and the first tool we have is what we call workflows. Workflows is a fixed sequence of steps that runs automatically. So it says, when this happens, I want you to do this. After that, if this happens, I want you to do this next thing. And that's going to be programmed, and the system is going to do just that you program, no more and no less. But that's enough, and it's a great way to personalize and to automatize things. I give you an example. Like if a new member signs up for the club, you can have a workflow that is going to send a welcome email after 5 hours, and then after that it's going to create the member profile and it's going to send the contract to that customer. Okay, and also after that it's going to notify to somebody in the front desk. Okay, so that's an automation without AI, just with a workflow. Or you can do the same if you want related to retention. So you can have, if you have a member that has a reduction in the number of visits of 50%, you can just the system send an email, wait for 1 day. If he opened the email, you do a second action. If he didn't open the email, you send an SMS. If he didn't answer to the SMS, you can notify to somebody from the staff. And those are workflows that run automatically, and they are very good for administrative tasks, for repetitive processes, or onboarding, or things that can be predefined, clearly predefined, and you don't need to be creative, or you don't need to react in different ways. Just build the process, and that's going to run smoothly and automatically.
And then we've got to get into AI chatbots, which is another aspect of the technology, right?
Yeah, the chatbot is like a second level because here you use AI. Basically, you use the AI to be able to communicate with the person using a natural language.
Right.
Okay. That system can respond to the questions of the person who is asking, but it's not a system, is not creative, and cannot use tools, and usually doesn't make any action, just respond to the questions. For example, if a person asks, how do I freeze my membership, or what are the opening hours of the club, or do you have personal trainers, So it's going to do that. It's going to answer to those questions and give the information with all the information that you put in the system to the chatbot, and it's going to use that information to answer. So it's not going to invent anything, and it's not going to be creative. Okay. The good thing about the chatbots is that they can support customer service. They can reduce front desk workload, and they can have a communication 24/7 and very immediate with a lead or with a member. Okay, so that's how you can use those systems. Okay, it's like having a customer service representative helping you in different aspects of the business.
Yes. And then the one that everyone's talking about lately is agentic, right? AI agents, which are very different, correct?
Yeah, that's the agents. The AI agents is the most sophisticated level of the AI at the moment. They also understand natural language, and they work with an objective. So you give the context to the agent, and with that context, the agent is able to be creative and to do things uh, to accomplish the objective that he's supposed to accomplish. And also can use tools, meaning by tools that he can use enter to a CRM and use the data for a CRM or from ERP or from a BI tool. So can use different tools to look for data or to interact with those tools. So also they go not only to a conversation, but they can also take action. Okay, and there are many areas that you can use agents. You can use agents for example, to improve group class utilization. You can have a system analyzing the attendance and identifying underperforming time slots, suggesting changes in the timetable, and doing things like that. And you can also use an agent to analyze data, analyze retention, detect the members that are at risk, and propose start a conversation with those members and try to lower the risk of cancellation of those members. So there are many areas where you can use an agent. And at the end, like a summary, the workflow is an automation with predefined rules. A chatbot is a intelligent conversation, but limited. And the agent is a less limited conversation, is also decision making, and is also action. So those are the three levels. And in each, the best thing is to combine all them, the three of them. Okay, because depending on the problem that you want to solve, it's better to use one tool or another.
Yeah.
Brian, I
Anytime you do a webinar using technology, the technology gods love to mess with you. I'm so sorry.
I don't know if it was problem with my Wi-Fi or with yours,
I don't
with
know
the
what happened.
connection
It
or with
just took
yours.
me off and then I'm back up. Let's see what's going on here.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. It just boop, went away. Let's see if everyone is still there here. That's never happened to me. I have a hardwire backup too. So, oh, everyone, all right, we still have everyone here. I'm glad everyone's still here. So, Pablo, wrap up the first part. Sorry about that. We had some glitch in the machine there. So, we were wrapping up the first part of the different types. So, you were concluding before we get into the next thing.
Yeah. Well, the summary is that we have three different tools: workflows, chatbots, and
Yep.
agents. A workflow is an automation with predefined rules.
Yep.
That those things are going to happen when there is a trigger, and the trigger is the situation that you define. Okay,
Yeah.
when somebody signs up,
Yeah.
sequence is going to start, and it's going to happen with the rules that you put in the system. Okay,
Yeah.
a chatbot is an AI that understands and allows to have a intelligent conversation with the customer, but it's a limited conversation because it's going to use only the information that you gave to the chatbot about opening hours, about pricing, about anything that you want him to answer to any lead or any customer. Okay,
Yeah.
but the chatbot is going to just use that information and it's going to answer in the same way to the same question.
Yeah.
And the AI agent is also understands natural language. It's also a more intelligent conversation. It has also ability to make decisions and to be creative in the answers on how it reacts, because it's the motivation of the agent is to accomplish a goal that you have predefined, giving him a context to accomplish that goal, and also can take action, so can do things, can interact with other systems, with other tools, and do some actions to improve the business. So those are the three levels. And the good thing is that we can use the three of them. Also, the cost of each one is very different. So workflow is the cheapest one. And in many times, a workflow is enough to solve the problem that you want to solve. So the best thing is to combine the three of them depending on the situation that you want to solve.
So let's talk now about the practical aspects of implementation and the areas that people generally are focusing on now. You know, in this space, but in most industries today, we think of sales and lead conversions, the member life cycle, operational functionality, and then analytical automations, right? These are the basic kind of areas that these tools are being focused upon. What's your commentary on that? What do you see there?
Well, we can go one by one. The first
Yeah.
one is the sales lead conversion and sales funnel. The industry today, the fitness industry, I think with using AI and automations, is especially focused on this area in sales and lead conversion. So it's focused in trying to bring more leads to the club, and also to improve the conversion rate of those leads in each phase of the funnel. Okay. Usually the industry is focused on that, especially because to do other things, there is a lack of data. So at the beginning, most companies that are bringing automations to the industry are working on the sales part. That is important. It's important to bring more people to the clubs and to increase the number of members. So that's one of the things that is being done. But very few companies are doing advanced automations once that lead becomes a member. Okay, that would be the second phase. That is the member's life cycle.
Yeah.
And the main problem or the reason why many companies are not working with automations in the customer journey is because they don't have the data well organized, clean, and ready to be able to create personalized automations. That meaning by that advanced automations. An automation you cannot do the same with all the members. So you have to do different things depending on the behavior and the needs of each one of your members, of your customers. Okay. So, and to do that, you need to have the data well organized about how the member is using the club, how often, what type of activities he's doing, what is his goal, what he wants to accomplish, what is his progress, and a lot of things. And depending on that, you're gonna take a different automation or a different journey for that customer. Okay. There are basically two ways to create automations with customers, with members. One is what we call independent automations. For example, when a member doesn't have a visit to the club in the last 30 days, that's the trigger for an automation. But that's an independent automation. Every member that stays 30 days without visiting the club is going to enter in the automation. Okay. And a second way to do it is creating a full customer journey that has to go from day one at least until 2 years after he joins. And you create a journey fully organized, and the customer is going to go through a different journey depending on his behavior. And the best thing is to combine independent automations with a full customer journey, automated customer journey. and you can create automations. I think we can, later on, we can show an example of that. The third one is the operational automations that refer more to administrative and operational tasks. For example, recovering payments from debtors, or managing any type of equipment incident and managing that with the supplier and doing the follow-up. So you can create automations in operational aspects of the club. Okay, and the last one for me is very important because when we think about automations and we think that AI is going to be doing all the work and all the decisions, but that's not true. So the managers still have to decide, and then they need to have the knowledge of what's going on. So this part of automations we call analytical automations, and are automations that analyze data and give you insights about what's going on so you can make better decisions. So the idea is not giving a lot of data to the manager, because AI is able to analyze the data better than humans. So the idea is to give inputs of what's going on with the data to the manager so they can take better decisions. For example, you can have an AI analyzing retention and saying, okay, you have a problem in retention, but the problem is only from this type of members, not with all the members, only take this type of members, and especially at this moment of the journey, in the first 3 months of the life of that member. Now you decide what to do, or he can also give you some ideas of what to do, but it's analyzing all the data and focusing you on the real problem and giving you an explanation why that's happening.
Yes, that's a good description. And so before we get into more of the customer journey aspects, because we're going to dive into that at the end, let's talk about the best use cases for these different kinds of tools, because generally these tools are best used generally for high volume, repetitive, not too complicated tasks. And you have to purposely design these things you don't want too much just technology. You don't want you want a blend of human, high tech, high touch, right? To create the experience that you're designing. And the key principles, as you and I've talked about, are using tech for certain things it's good at, things like speed, scale, and consistency, right? So tell us about those use cases and what your experiences have informed you on that.
Well, I think this is going to be an important topic during the next years, how we balance human touch and technology. Okay, and it's already a concern for some companies. For me, we know where technology is stronger. We know that technology is stronger with a task has to be done in a repetitive way, so in a consistent way, because technology is very consistent. We know technology is good when there is a lot of data involved, so you have to analyze a lot of data in the process in order to do something. Technology is really good in that part of analyzing data. We also know technology is good when there is a time sensitivity, so something has to be done immediately. So technology, if somebody joins and you want, or a lead fills up something in the web page or in a landing page, and you want to give an immediate answer, use technology for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. We also know technology is good when we are talking about a high volume of people or a high volume of data. For example, if you want to do something with all your database of ex-members, use technology, because probably you have thousands of ex-members in the database. If you want to reach them, use technology for that when the volume is really high. And we also know technology is good when the rules are very clear and stable. You can create an automation with technology there because you know that nothing strange or not predicted is going to happen. So you use technology when it's repetitive, data-driven, time-sensitive, high volume, or role-based. Okay. So if you do that, you know that the answer is going to be immediate, is going to be consistent, is not going to be any human error. The cost is going to be lower than doing that with a person, and it's going to work 24/7. So that's the advantage of technology.
Yeah.
We also know theoretically, because it depends on the attitude, what humans are stronger at, what type of task. And they are stronger when there is a lot of emotional intelligence involved.
Yeah.
In that, we know when there is a complex negotiation, we know a human can do it better because there are a lot of emotional and there are small perceptions that you have to take into account. So if the complexity is really high, use a person. And also, for example, in conflict resolutions or things like that, a human is better. But for the
Yeah.
rest, technology can help a lot.
Yes, indeed.
And also when if the risk is very high and the task is complex, humans are better because AI is still in a very early stage and can hallucinate. And if the risk of doing of that is high, maybe you want to avoid that risk.
That's right. Yeah, you have to start with a foundation before you get too
Yeah.
down the road trying to automate everything, and it turns out to be a disaster. Well,
Yeah.
let's
And
let's yeah,
no, sorry, yes, and also you can combine technology and human in the same process.
yeah,
Okay, so if we are talking about trying to improve churn and retention, maybe you can have technology that is detecting which members are dropping the number of visits. Maybe the technology is scoring the risk of each one of the members, taking into account a lot of data from each member. And once he detects that and scores that person, maybe sending a message to a person that is going to contact that customer and is going to have a complex interaction. So you
yes,
can combine both things.
yes. Well, let's get into now some specific examples of thinking about these processes, use cases, and technologies, and let's look at the customer journey as a way. I'm going to share the screen here to give everyone an idea. Why don't you go through this? Because I think this will be a more practical illustration of what we just discussed in a graphic for everybody.
Yes, and I like this image because very few clubs have defined a really automated and really advanced customer journey.
Yeah,
When I talk to some customers, to some operators, they say, no, we have a journey, but they don't really have an automated journey.
that's
Maybe
right.
they have a journey for the first 2 or 3 months, just sending the information, sending an email or sending a questionnaire or an NPS, but they don't have a full developed customer journey. So when you want to create a customer journey, the first thing you do is you define the moments, what we call the moments of truth. Okay, in which moments of the journey is important to measure something and to do something. Okay, for example, you can decide, okay, for me, a good moment of truth is going to be 24 hours after the person signs up. Then you know that you have to do something 24 hours. Then another moment of truth is going to be after 2 weeks. Then another one is going to be after 30 days. And you define that at least for 2 years, 24 months. Okay. Once you have the moments of truth, you have to decide, okay, what possible clusters of customers are going to be in that moment of truth. Okay, so if I have a moment of truth, 15 days or 10 days, like it says here, 10 days after sign up, maybe I have two clusters there. I have the members that have already visited, and I have the members that have not visited. And I create those two clusters because I know that a member that signs up and doesn't visit in the first 30 days is going to be at risk of cancellation because it's going to be starting now. I knew I didn't have the time. I knew that was not for me. I don't know what I sign up. So it's going to start the decline in motivation. So you can have that segment, that cluster, and say, okay, I want to do something with that cluster. I want to send an email or bring an agent here. And after that email, I'm gonna probably offer him an invitation to come with a friend, because I know it's going to be easier for him to come with a friend during the first days. Whatever you decide, you create the action. That's the third part. You create the workflow or the chatbot or the agent. Okay. And with the other segment, that is members that have visited, maybe you want to check out if the club is at the level of the expectations they had at the beginning. So maybe to that cluster, you're going to send a questionnaire asking about an NPS or asking about how they feel in the club, and to see if we are covering the expectations. And then you move to the next moment of truth. That is maybe 1 month after signing up. And then you want to say, okay, I want to create a cluster of people that is coming less than 5 times in those 30 days, and people that is coming more than 5 times. And I'm also going to create another cluster that is people that have not visited or attended to any group X class, and then people who has attended to group X class. And you can also combine those filters. So you can create, you have many filters that you can use, like attendance, how much money they spend, what is his goal, how often are visiting, what type of activities are doing, and you can combine to create a cluster different segments. And you decide how many clusters you create, and to each cluster you attach a different automation that you can use for the automation any one of those 3 tools that we mentioned before. So you can add a workflow, you can add a chatbot or an agent. Okay, the easiest way is to start with an automation, is the cheapest one, is already a big step forward in automating things. And if you need that something requires AI, then you can introduce an agent for a specific task or a chatbot in the system. Okay, so that's the way. That's how we create in Fitness KPI a fully automated customer journey, and then we consider like 3 phases. One phase is the onboarding, that we consider the onboarding of that member during the first 3 months. Okay, so we work in different things that we know improve the onboarding and bring that into the automation. The second phase is up to the first year is when you consolidate the habit of doing exercise and going regularly to the club. So there are also many theories that improve the habit, and we bring that knowledge to the customer journey. And the last part, after 1 year, is the retention phase, that he has the habit, but we have to maintain the engagement with that customer at least during 1 more year. And you continue with the journey if you want after that, but what is important is the first 2 years.
Yes. Yes, this is a well done. This is a good, important graphic. And I would say that anyone that's considering adopting these technology stacks, they really got to start looking at it from that perspective first. You have to look at what the current state of actually what is happening is, and then where the state it is you want to go, and then layer in a thoughtful way. You're not going to flip a switch and all this is going to be done overnight. That would be a mistake, right?
Yes, and another mistake is thinking that the customer journey is a tool only to improve retention, because it's not. The customer journey improves retention, of course, but also reduces cost, because you are automating things that in other case are going to be done by people. So it's a cost reduction. It's also a way to increase revenue, not only because the reduction on churn, but also because you are increasing the cross sales in the club. Because many times the automation is going to bring somebody to a personal trainer, or is going to bring somebody to a product or to a new service that they have to pay. So it's going to increase revenues, and also it's going to improve or increase acquisition of new members, especially by recommendation. That is probably the most important way to bring new members. So because many times the automation is gonna try to get a recommendation or to try to get a contact to create a lead to start in the sales process. So you can improve all the important areas of the business if you really work on the customer journey.
Yes.
And as I mentioned before, besides the customer journey, that for me is the most important way
Yes.
to build automations, you can also build independent automations for specific things that
Yes.
they work together with the customer journey.
Yes, right. This is like if you're going to make dinner, you need to have a recipe with the right ingredients. And so
Yeah.
this is kind of the start of that. And we have a few questions, Pablo. Thanks for explaining that to the audience. And everyone, thanks for attending and being here. First off, Sal, thanks for being here and thanks for your recognition and discussion today. I know that everybody had a great time at FISA, so we appreciate you being here. Vincenzo, our friend from Italy, asked the questions, but are we really sure that humans are still better than AI with emotional intelligence? That's what Vincenzo asked. It's a good theoretical question. I guess it depends. What are your thoughts, Pablo?
Uh, yeah, I would say definitely is better. And humans are better than technology in that, for sure. The problem is that not always that goes into place.
Right.
Not always that happens, and especially doesn't happen when when what they have to do has to be done every day.
Yeah.
Because humans, we go to the comfort zone and then we say okay, and we've seen that many times with fitness instructors in the fitness floor, just walking around talking always with the same members and not paying any attention to a person that is new and starting and not doing the correct things. And so if when they have to do it every day, that's the problem. They have to fight against that strong ball that is the everyday having to do, and they move to the comfort zone, or we move to the comfort zone. Okay, so that's basically the problem. So to help on that, we need two things. One is a great leadership, and culture in the company that is pushing everybody to be better. So that's important. So many times the problem is in the leadership. And so that's one thing. And second thing, we need to combine with technology to make life a little bit easier to those people. Because we used to tell the fitness trainers, instructors, okay, you go and talk to the people and make a contact with high value and see what they need and everything. But we didn't give any information to that trainer about the situation of the customer. If we use technology, maybe before that trainer goes to talk to the customer, maybe before that he already knows what's the situation of the customer, what he wants to accomplish, how often is he coming, what type of activities he like, and the conversation is going to be a lot easier.
Yes, yes, it is. And I would say this, Vincenzo, I think in the end that will start to become a reality in years to come. I also think that the limitation on this is data points. So when what Pablo, for example, is pointing out is all this information that humans can observe and see are data points for them to be able to do the things that they do better than AI because the AI technology doesn't have all those data points. If it did, it'd probably be a lot better at it, but we're not quite there yet. That's probably a big part. Robert asked,
And
yeah,
can I add a small
yeah,
thing about that? Also, there is a risk for humans also in this emotional part, because when you have technology and that's going to happen, doing a lot of things that today are being done by humans, when you start seeing technology doing that is very consistent, and you don't expect from the technology to smile at you, to be emotional. You just expect the technology to do what it's supposed to do, and
yeah,
that's going to be happening.
yeah,
Then you put a lot more pressure on humans, because when you have a human doing a task, you are, as a customer, are going to expect, and you are going to be uh, more demanding of that emotional touch, and you're going to ask for a difference with the technology. So that's going to put more pressure also in humans to be more emotional and to
yeah.
smile, to know the name of the person and to do that. Because if not, you're going to think, why don't you have a technology doing this?
Yes, that's right. That's right. That's a point of differentiation. I agree with that. So Robert was asking how you had mentioned earlier, he brings up about the whole customer journey mapping. Uh, And without naming names, Fitness KPI has a lot of clients around the world, and I've advised a lot of brands as well. I don't see this in many organizations. Uh, is that the same experience he asked that you've seen, that there's not a lot of this that you've actually seen in the organization?
Yeah, that's why we created this functionality in Fitness KPI, because we saw that we were giving a lot of data to the operators, but they were not building something as important as a customer journey with all that data. And we said, that's not possible. We need to improve the companies. And the only thing that improves the companies is if we are doing actions with the data. It's not just analyzing the data and waiting things to happen. So we decided, okay, let's create a customer journey with our knowledge from the industry and from the customer. Let's create a customer journey and make it easier for the operator. So they can use that journey that we have already pre-created, or they can just modify small things in the customer journey.
Yes.
Because what the operators were telling us is that, okay, yeah, we know it's important to build the customer journey. And we see also your system that is able to build a customer journey, but I don't have a person to do that, or the person or my team is not able. They don't have the knowledge to do that, or the time, or the resources. So let's say, okay, so that's why we created a customer journey, and then it's a lot easier to implement that. Because, and I understand that the companies, they have the focus in different things. They don't have the focus in the same where I would like them to have the focus. They have the focus in their strategy and in what they need at every moment. So maybe now they are focused in growing and not in building a customer journey. But if I give it to them very easily and I consume very little resources from them, then they are going to implement that. And once it's ready, you forget about it. That's the good thing about automations and about technology, that once you have decided what you want to happen, that's going to happen every day and with
Yeah.
every member. So depending on
Yeah.
the behavior of the member, that's going to happen, and you don't have to worry about it.
Yes. Good thoughts. Well, Pablo, thank you again for your time. I know we're looking forward to seeing everybody at HFA in San Diego, including you, Pablo, Isabel. I'll be there, of course, and many others. And we'll continue to make the efforts of helping everyone understand how to thoughtfully deploy these technologies in a way that actually makes a difference to their business. So thank you for your insights as always.
Now, thank you, Bryan, for inviting me here, and thanks everybody. And you are welcome in HFA. We will have a booth in the Tech Valley, so we wait for your visit over there.
Outstanding. Thank you so much. Good to see everybody, and we'll see you again soon. Have a great day.